Wandavision has officially started Phase 4 of the MCU, and so far, it seems to be off to a great and exciting start. Welcome watchers of the Marvel Multiverse, this is the new voice of the Marvelous Wave, let us observe all that occurs. Up until now, we've only seen Wanda's powers expressed through telepathy and telekinesis. Prior to Wandavision, there has been little to no hints to the full extent of what her abilities could be in the MCU. But with what's been going on in Wandavision, we may finally get to see just how powerful she can be, and to see if she can match that power level she has in comics. With some recent revelations in episode 5, however, we may find that this isn't actually all Wanda's doing. There's been much speculation as to who or what may be giving Wanda this boost in power. And it kind of begs the question, what is going on in the small town of Westview, New Jersey? For the most part, in the first few episodes of WandaVision, we see Wanda and Vision settling into this small town with the added effect of appearing to be in a sitcom. In the first few episodes, we see them both do things that normal people would do, and nothing really seems too suspect. Vision starts a job, Wanda plays homemaker and makes friends with neighbors, and they get involved in the community. From first glance, the only thing that really seems to be out of place is them hiding their powers. But the only purpose behind this seems to be to provide moments of canned laughter. But when we look deeper, there's a few things that are actually fairly suspect. Two examples off the top of my head are, first, Agnes. Who is she? Could she be Agatha Harkness, a mentor of Scarlet Witch's in the comics? The second is Vision's job. What are the computations he's doing for? Outside of those from the first 3 episodes though, for the most part everything seems to be under Wanda's control, with slight blips and interference from the outside world. Their misadventures are fairly straightforward to start, I think, with sitcom hijinks that are perpetrated by Wanda through her will and desire to have a simple life with Vision. But there are still more questions, like what is the involvement of S.W.O.R.D., which we do learn later on, and is everything in Westview just a mental image put in the minds of the residents, or is everything actually changed, which we also learn later on because of S.W.O.R.D.? And no matter what questions are brought up, it does still seem like Wanda is in control. But my feelings on this change after episode 3, especially with the birth of the twins. This proves that this is more than just a mental construct put into the minds of the Westview residents. The twins are real, tangible, and clearly a desire of Wanda's. So if this was really her desire, why did she not know she was having twins? This has made everyone wonder, is Wanda really the one in control of the situation? And if she is, does she not know the extent of her own powers? After the pregnancy though, we find that Geraldine is not who she seems. Also that some of the residents may know what's going on a little bit more than they put on. Shortly after the births, Wanda seems to lose a little bit of control when she remembers Pietro dying at the hands of Ultron. And to make matters worse, Geraldine brings this up. It is at this moment that Wanda recognizes Geraldine's sword necklace as a similar symbol that she saw on the toy helicopter and the beekeeper that came out of the sewers. Wanda, knowing Geraldine doesn't belong, then ejects her from the town and into the sword base camp just outside. In the next episode, we learn just how jarred Wanda's control on reality came at this moment. In the next episode, we see a visage of a dead Vision without the Mind Stone in his head. It makes me, for one, question, is Vision alive at all, or is he just being puppeted by Wanda? We also learn that prior to coming to Westview, Wanda went to the S.W.O.R.D. headquarters and stole Vision's deactivated body against his will and against the Sokovia Accords. It makes me wonder, is Vision just a pawn in Wanda's game, or was she manipulated to bring him in? Either way, Vision doesn't seem to be under the same control the rest of the residents are. And what does S.W.O.R.D. have to do with everything that's going on? Geraldine, we learn, is actually Captain Monica Rambeau, daughter of Maria Rambeau, a former friend and wingman of Carol Danvers or Captain Marvel. She ended up accidentally getting sucked into the town when she was investigating a missing persons case with the FBI agent Jimmy Woo. Got a little too close to the barrier separating the town from the rest of the world and was forced to participate for 3 days. This brought the full force of the government and S.W.O.R.D. to the small town of Westview. S.W.O.R.D., or the Sentient Weapon Observation and Response Division, which was started by Maria Rambeau, was brought into this situation because of the involvement of Wanda and Vision. Dr. Darcy Lewis, a former colleague of Jane Foster and astrophysicist, found a broadcast signal intertwined with the cosmic microwave background radiation emitting from the hexagon of space surrounding Westview. Darcy was able to broadcast this signal on an old tube TV, revealing what was going on inside of the town. It is at this point we begin to see that Wanda really is shaping reality to her will. Wanda isn't just manipulating minds to see what is going on in the show, she is actually changing to fit in with the reality she is creating for the show. We are finally seeing powers similar to those in House of M, where a grieving Scarlet Witch influenced by Pietro changes the whole world so she can have her twins back. A great example of these changes in the show is when Monica, Jimmy, and Darcy found that the pants Monica exited the anomaly with are made from the Kevlar vest she went in with. So everything we see in Wanda's reality that she is creating is real. And with this being very similar to the full extent of her powers in the comics, where did this boost in power come from? At the end of episode 5, it really comes into question whether Wanda is really controlling everything going on. At the end of the episode, Wanda and Vision get into an argument when Wanda tries to end the episode. Vision had been asking questions of his co-workers and found that the control that the townspeople are under actually causes them pain. He wants to know why Wanda is doing this and why Wanda won't tell him what is outside of the town. She won't tell Vision, and in some part for good reason. But at the same time, she ends the argument by saying, "Do you really think I am controlling everything? That I am somehow in charge of everything and everybody in Westview, walking their dogs, mowing their lawns, taking them to dentist appointments on time? I don't even know how any of this started in the first place." While this might be a lie from Wanda, what happens next does make it seem that other forces are at work here. The first theory is based around the twins, Billy and Tommy, or as they may later be known as, Wiccan and Speed. At the start of the episode, it comes into question how much control Wanda has, as the twins don't seem to respond to her commands as others do. This might be because the true mastermind behind the Westview anomaly is the extra-dimensional demon known as Mephisto. He is the devil of the Marvel Comics and has appeared in some form in the Ghost Rider series with Nick Cage. The reason the twins may not be under Wanda's control, and the reason they exist altogether, may be because they were brought into life by Mephisto himself. In the comics, they are created through Wanda's hex powers and slivers of life essence from Mephisto himself. And with these slivers, the boys were able to gain their souls. Could Mephisto be playing a part in their creation? And could he be using Wanda's twins to spread his influence? With Robbie Reyes as Ghost Rider appearing in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., could it be a possibility that this is an introduction to a villain who may create many other stories? The second theory of what this could be comes because of what happens after Vision's and Wanda's argument. A doorbell rings, and Wanda claims she does not know who it is and it's not under her control. Vision remains skeptical, and rightly so. So Wanda gets up to answer the door, and she is just as shocked as the rest of us are. Standing there is her long-lost brother, Pietro, or Quicksilver, but not Quicksilver from the MCU. Darcy, who is watching along, mentions that Wanda has recast Pietro. This is not a mere recast though, but we as watchers know this is much more than a recast. This is Quicksilver from the X-Men universe. This marks the first crossover of X-Men and the MCU, and I for one am excited to see what they do. Could this be the start of an uncanny Avengers storyline, where the Avengers and X-Men finally team up on the big screen? And with many of the upcoming rumors surrounding Spider-Man 3, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, as well as the inclusion of Deadpool 3 in the MCU, we could finally be looking at the collision of the multiverses. And with Wanda being the daughter of Magneto in one universe, she could bridge that gap to bring them together finally. With her doppelganger hinted at in Days of Future Past, perhaps they are unknowingly working together to open these doors. I for one am excited to see what comes in Phase 4 of the MCU. With all these Easter eggs, hints, and theories, many things could happen. I for one am ready for the multiverses to come together so we can finally see all our favorite stories on the big and the little screen. What are your thoughts on WandaVision so far? Who do you think is really in control here? What do you think is going to happen when the universes collide? And what stories do you hope to see come from it? Please let us know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button to assemble and join our team, and have a great day.